Hello and thanks for staying on LN 24/7. This is Politics Now. I am Morno Balagbobo. This is the show that opens the window into Nigeria's political pulse. As the 2027 elections loom, the battle lines are being drawn. A new opposition coalition is rising to challenge President Bola Tinubu. The PDP is fracturing on the defections and internal rifts, and Peter Obi's single-term presidency pledge is sparking debate, and the APC is reshaping its leadership to secure dominance. Can the opposition unite to offer a credible alternative, or will internal chaos and APC's strategic maneuvers rather dominate? That is why tonight we're focusing on Nigeria's 2027 power struggle. Here is a rundown of our talking points. First, we'll look at opposition coalition versus PDP's defection crisis. We'll also talk about Peter Obi's single-term vision and APC leadership. Well, we'll unpack all of this. We'll be right back. To stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us. I'm not alone. Live with me in our studios here in Abuja is Mr. Dominic, Alancha at APC chieftain, who understand all the dynamics of what is going on. Thank you so much, Honorable, for being with us on the show tonight.
Thank you for having me.
The pleasure is all mine. So let's just go straight to our first talking point. We're looking at Nigeria's power struggle, opposition coalition, and PDP's defection crisis. Now, Nigeria's opposition is rallying under the African Democratic Congress with leaders like Atiku Abubakar, Peter Obi, and Aminu Tambuwal aiming to unseat the president. The presidential candidate, rather, from the ADC in 2023 is speaking out and reacting to the adoption of his party by Vice President Atiku Abubakar and others. The coalition members meeting in Abuja on Wednesday announced the ADC as the platform to challenge the APC, and the group has also announced former Senate President David Mark as an interim national chairman of the ADC, with former Osun State Governor Rauf Aregbesola appointed as the party's interim national secretary. But he's reacting to all of this development, saying that he's watching this takeover and he's just amused, claiming that the coalition is dealing with the former leadership of the party led by Rauf Nwosu. And before this time around, Rauf Nwosu has been across basically every media platform to talk about this development. And according to him, the tenure of the Nwosu-led executive of the ADC ended on the 21st of 2022, and he berated the coalition group, saying they represent a bad chapter in Nigeria's past. He, however, said that if they want to join the party, they should do so through the front door. All right, Sir Dominic, this is quite interesting. Nigerians are excited about this new coalition development. And here you have, the party is yet to take shape, and there's already internal crisis again with the former presidential candidate of the ADC in 2023 saying this is surprising to him and they should come to the front door. So it's like it doesn't matter what political party you belong in, there seems to be crisis looming. But how do you unpack this coalition? It's been a while now, but this is now a reality.
Well, honestly speaking, I think there are issues, within this coalition of a thing, and that we just have to look at it and interrogate the issues properly, because I sense that there may be some legal issues going forward. Today, we saw the National Secretary of the ADC, challenging the emergence or the takeover of, the party also, where Rauf Aregbesola was announced as the National Secretary of the party. And now we are seeing the statement that has come out, from Kachuku, that is watching all of this with amusement. Alleging that the coalition opposition leaders are dealing with the former leadership. In his statement, he said that the leadership, the current leadership of RAF ended, I think, on August or thereabout in 2022. You know, so what is he trying to tell Nigerians? Is he trying to tell Nigerians that the current, you know, adoption of the ADC by the coalition political leaders, opposition political leaders is illegal? I think these are issues that we really need to interrogate going forward, but I think there are interesting time ahead, you know, looking at the formidability of this, you know, opposition coalition party. And if you look at his statement also, I want to strongly agree with him that this opposition political leaders represent the past. That is to tell you, he's trying to say that these leaders have nothing to offer Nigerians. And I agree with him, because if you look at Nigerians, the same people, the likes of Atiku Abubakar, the likes of David Mark, Babangida Aliu, Sule Lamido, you can go on. These are people that have been in power, you know, since the inception of the Fourth Republic in 1999, and they are still around the corridors of power. And if you look at the Nigerian past, okay, what is your judgment? What is your, you know, perception of the Nigerian past? Where we are today is as a result of the activities of these same leaders that are showcasing themselves as saviors, as alternative to APC. This is laughable, honestly speaking.
You know, it's not fair that you critique it that way, because your party, the APC, has been in power for 8 years plus this Tinubu's administration. So officially, the All Progressive Congress has been in power for 10 years.
And I can tell you, yes, for 10 years we have been in power. And I can tell you,
you've ruled this country to demand criticism and say, okay, you are not fit to contest.
Now, what I'm trying to say is that, you see, governance is like a building block, okay? You build upon it to a level, the next person, because we run a presidential democracy where it's tenure bound, okay? You spend 4 years, you go for re-election. When Nigerians assess you and see if, you know, you have performed, they will vote you in again, you know, like that, you know, like that. So what I'm trying to say, the 16 years they were in power, okay, what were they able to achieve? When we came into power, we inherited a dilapidated economy. We inherited a country that was near collapse. And it's like, you know, rebuilding the foundation of Nigeria to start afresh. So, and let me tell you, you see, when you are rebuilding a home, when you are rebuilding a house, okay, it is more strenuous, it is more tedious, it is more taxing, you know, to do that. That is where these leaders that are showcasing themselves as alternative.
Nigerians can also say the same thing about the APC, because you've been in power for 10 years. The APC, so if you say 16 years minus 10 years, how many years is left? That's 6 years. So it's almost close. You look at the number of years, it's almost close. It's not too far.
If you look at
in other words, from what you are saying, we can infer that neither of the party officials or stakeholders should be contesting for power. Given how long, because now you're saying, okay, you've ruled Nigeria for 16 years. What did you do for Nigeria? APC has ruled Nigeria for 10 years. What has it done for Nigeria?
Well, if you want me to access the APC administration for the past 10 years, you know, 2015 till date, I can tell you that we have done tremendously well. And that is why in 2019, when Buhari presented himself for re-election, Nigerians voted for him. In 2023, when APC present the candidature of amiable President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Nigerians voted for him. Why? Because APC have done tremendously well. I'll tell you, when we took over power in 2015, you know, Nigeria was in deficit in terms of infrastructure. But today you can see our hospitals, you know, there are a lot of hospitals. Just recently, I think, you know, during the APC National Summit, the Minister of Health announced to Nigerians primary health care in over 774 local governments, you know, that have been,
journalists will
clinics have been upgraded. Exactly, it's your responsibility to go there and see for yourself. You can see, you know, the coastal highway, Badagry, Sokoto, Badagry, and a lot of, you know, infrastructure in terms of road infrastructures that, you know, is opening up our rural communities to the urban areas.
The question now,
like
Mr. Dominic, is...
And the economy in the hands of Buhari, in the hands of Bola Ahmed Tinubu is picking up. Because... Absolutely.
Have you seen the GDP
look, let me tell you,
from Obasanjo regime up till this time around? Would you say we are better than what you met?
Well, for me, we are better. For me, the standard of living, you know, even though the removal, hold on.
Fuel price was 200 naira.
Look, let me tell you.
Then, what is the current price of fuel? So how can you say Nigerians are better in terms of economic hardship, pressing the necks of Nigerians?
We need to understand that the subsidy was not sustainable. Every leader, including the people that are showcasing themselves as the alternative now, you know, Obi contested, Atiku contested with Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and they all promised Nigerians that they are going to remove a subsidy.
But they said because not as swiftly
the subsidy
like
was
it was executed by President Tinubu.
President Muhammadu Buhari already removed the subsidy. It was not captured in the 2023 budget.
So why was it still being paid?
It was captured.
Why was it still being paid? Even when President Bola Tinubu announced the removal of fuel subsidy, there were still indications that subsidies were still being paid.
The second quarter of June, the second quarter of 2023 was to end subsidy.
Okay, so let's move away from subsidy. What about the unification of the exchange rates?
Look,
the exchange rates is a mess as it is.
I'm not an economist, but one thing Nigerians need to know was that even dollar was subsidized. Okay, and that is why a lot of persons made money. They get it at government rate and sell it in the black market. You recall that, you know, our Beirut change were being investigated and stuff like that as a result of that. Emefiele today is in jail. I mean, is under investigation, you know, and recoveries have been made just recently over, in fact, the city more than my village, where he built, you know, a block of flats estate was being recovered from him as a result of, you know, those shrouded deals they made under the dollar.
But all this you have said does not take away from the pains that Nigerians are going through.
Yes, but Nigerians are going through pain. We are all going through pains.
Well,
but
we're
the
talking
truth
about
of the matter is that we must make sacrifice for us to build this country. We must make sacrifice for our children, you know, to come and enjoy this country. And this is the sacrifice that leaders like Atiku Abubakar, leaders like Peter Obi, David Mark, you know, and the rest of them that are championing the coalition cause today did not make. But we are to make such, you know, sacrifices. And that is why I'm supportive of APC. You know, I'm supportive of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Comes 2027, I believe that Nigerians will renew his mandate.
Now, let me take you back to the 2023 presidential elections. You saw the results. By the time you collate the votes cast for Peter Obi and PDP and other opposition parties, you know that's an overwhelming major victory. So is the APC concerned about this development? Because facts don't lie. If you collate all the votes and put it side by the votes cast for President Tinubu, I mean, that should be a lot of concern. So those in the inner caucus of the APC, how are they reacting to this development?
Look, let me tell you, I believe in opposition. What I mean, I believe in viral opposition, because opposition will help you to sit up, to do the needful, to do the right thing.
Even the president mentioned that
But the current political opposition leaders have failed Nigerians. Even as opposition political parties, they have failed. Because if they have, let's look at Atiku and the PDP. A man like Atiku is there and PDP is going under? As an opposition leader,
let me ask you, since we're talking about the PDP, since we're talking about the PDP, you know the genesis of the PDP, right?
Absolutely.
Would you say is Atiku?
Well, I can tell you it's clearly is Atiku. The ambition of Atiku in 2023, you know, despite the fact that there is a zoning arrangement, despite the fact that there was
2023 elections,
I'm telling you, you see, let's deal with the roots. Okay, despite the fact that there was a zoning arrangement on ground that power will shift to the south, and for crying out loud, you cannot have a President Muhammadu Buhari spending 8 years from the north, and then in 2023, when it's the turn of the south, you want to retain it in the north. That is what angered the likes of Wike, the likes of even Makinde today that is struggling to return to PDP, because they had arrangement, but they scuttled all of that arrangement, and that is why today PDP is in a crisis that they cannot come out.
So why do you?
So the ambition of Atiku, the ambition. Let me land, please.
Okay.
The ambition of Atiku, you know, kills the PDP, and I'm afraid his ambition in 2027 will still kill the ADC.
Well,
if they ever exist,
he has not declared
because
that
there is going to be legal tussle. You can hear what Kachiku is speaking. What he's saying is spitting fire. Kachuku is already spitting fire. That they are dealing with the former leaders of ADC. They need to deal with the current leaders of ADC. And who are the current leaders of ADC? Those are the issues that, as a journalist, you know, you need to investigate it and let Nigerians know the truth so that they don't build their hope around a political party that will fail.
But, you know, when you even talk about the Labour Party, you know, when Peter Obi tried with the PDP and he felt the whole process was rigged, he went to the Labour Party. We all saw the whole crisis of Apapa and then Abure and all of that. So, I mean, when you look at the nitty-gritty, because somebody just says this, it doesn't necessarily mean that is what it is. So, probably we'll give them time to go to court and then make all the inferences that we need to make. Now, but something that is very striking about this coalition is the fact that, I mean, you're seeing people from the Labour Party come together. But before we continue to talk on that, I want us to focus on the fate of the PDP. Now, Atiku out of the question, do you think the crisis is over?
Can you rephrase your question, please?
Atiku has left the PDP, yes, officially. Now that he's out, do you think the crisis is over? Well,
I'm not a member of PDP, but the truth is that the
but it should concern you because you.
Hold on, yeah.
They are your,
I'm going to provide competition. I'm going to provide answers to that. Okay. The fact that Atiku have left PDP, okay, for me, I think the crisis, you know, is over, but it's not yet over. Okay. Because you can see the PDP issued a warning to their members saying that we are watching you. We are watching you. Apart from David Mark, you know, who was the former Senate president, okay, he is the only person that have tendered his resignation from the from the PDP. So he has the right to leave the PDP. Let others also tender their resignation. Otherwise, I think, you know, they will be suspended or a disciplinary action will be taken against them.
Now, there's something really striking for me. When you look at Atiku's move, coalitions now, and there's still sort of flexibility, like you rightly said, just David Mark tendered his resignation letter. So, I mean, what do you make of that, neither here nor there?
Well, that is to tell you that if they don't do that, their ticket will be challenged in 2027. Because you cannot have a membership card of another political party and then you are contesting under a different political party. It won't work. But I'm expecting that, you know, before the purchases of form, expression of interest and all of that, they will have to sort that. Because clearly their allegiance, I mean, they are hobnobbing with, you know, ADC, from what we saw today, shows clearly that they have left the PDP, but not officially. They need to make it officially so that Nigerians will not build their hope around a political party that, you know, will fail them tomorrow. And definitely, with the kind of people that they are showcasing, Nigerians really don't need to build their hopes around these calibers of persons.
Well, but the question now is, can Peter Obi's bold vision for a new path, I mean, how will that, you know, because I heard you talk so much about Atiku Abubakar, but you seem to, you seem not to see the support, massive support that Peter Obi has. Do you acknowledge that fact that he is a threat?
Definitely,
To your party.
and that is why you see they are coming together. How do I put it? How do they put
Monumental? Is that the word you're looking for?
No, not monumental. It's a convergence of strange bedfellows. Okay, what I mean by that is that Peter Obi has ambition, and I have said this in different fora. Okay, that look, the only thing that will make, you know, the opposition have some strength, okay, garner some kind of strength, probably to prepare for 2027, is for them, the leaders, the likes of Atiku, the likes of Peter Obi, to bury their ambition. Because like the ambition of Atiku Abubakar killed PDP in 2023, if they are not careful in 2027, the ambition of Peter Obi and Atiku Abubakar will also kill the ADC.
Now, okay, we'll get to that. But Peter Obi's pledge for a single 4-year term, if elected in 2027, has become a cornerstone of the opposition coalition's reformist agenda. So let's examine this vision now. Single-term pledge was announced on 2nd, that was today, which aims to unify the coalition, restore public trust by focusing on rapid reforms in the economy and security. Now, in his words, he says this is a covenant with Nigerians for transparency and results, and also reports notes its appeal to voters frustrated with prolonged tenures. Now, the pledge contrasts with the party APC's long-term power consolidation, but coalition's disputes could undermine its impact. Now, with Obi's single-term pledge, which is bold, but is it feasible in Nigeria's political climate? Do you think Nigerians will buy that sell that he's trying to put out?
Peter Obi is speaking clearly like a politician. And as a politician, you know, they speaks from both sides of the mouth. I mean, how can... He has not even gotten there. We have seen people in this country,
no, but
even while they know that they were very sick, they were very sick, that under, you know, health condition they are ideally supposed to give way, they will refuse to do that because they are enjoying the paraphernalia of, I mean, you know, of that office. So Peter Obi should not come. Nigerians can no longer be deceived.
But let's not
he should not come under a single
to many
Nigerians
believe he's a man of his word.
Look, let me tell you. Would
you say he has enough track record for Nigerians to believe him?
Nigerians
if
will
he
not
says he
believe
will do a one term.
Like I told you, he's speaking from both sides of his mouth, okay? He cannot tell Nigerians that he will be committed to a single term, you know, tenure. By the time he is sworn in, from that day, 2021 agenda will begin. And that is where we are going to have another.
No, but don't you think it strengthens the coalition's prospects? Because what if a northerner is being rallied around him, and then the deal is to hand over power back to the north after that first tenure?
Let me tell you, I don't see anybody, sincerely speaking, let's be honest.
You don't think it's a good enough sell?
I don't see anybody, you know, not Peter Obi, not Atiku, or any other person that can, you know, wrestle this power from the hands of, you know, I mean, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I don't see it happening. Because, see, let me tell you, politics in Nigeria is about structure. The APC has the structure. Okay,
but you will agree the same set of persons who said that the Labour Party did not have structure, and when they pulled out that results during the 2023 elections, did it not beat your imagination?
Well, it didn't beat my imagination because, so let me tell you.
Because you people were saying online votes, online, and then the results came out. Yeah. And he pulled almost 5 million. That is a lot.
Definitely. I agree with you that he did his best, you know.
So would you say the conversation about party structure holds no ground still?
No, it does. Party structures is very important. For example, today, as I speak with you, the membership base of APC is over 40 million. If we revalidate, we're going to be over 40 million. Okay? But as I speak with you,
registered members.
Registered member, we are 40 million. With that 40 million, if we properly mobilize them, for the general election, no political party can stand the APC in 2027. I'm telling you. As I'm seated here, I have a constituency to deliver. As I'm seated here, I have a senatorial district, a senatorial district to deliver. How many of these boys that are, online, are in touch with their grassroots? They are not.
As
and politics is local, as
party,
individuals. I mean, as individuals and as party.
But,
okay? Look, let me tell you. The coalition, I like it. Because it will make the APC also to sit up. Like I told you from beginning, I believe in opposition political party. When there is a viral opposition political party, it makes the contestation sweet, and the beauty of democracy is contest. Without contest, there is no democracy. Without contest, we will kill democracy. So the beauty of contest is, the democracy is contest. When there is viral opposition political party, it even helps leaders, to sit up. When they play their role properly, they serve as watchdog to the government in power. Bola Ahmed Tinubu today, will sit up more and do the needful so that in 2027, we are just midterm into our election. By 2026, you begin to see our scorecard. Some of those things that we have been able to achieve.
But the question now is, are Nigerians buying your scorecard? Because at the National Summit of the APC, everything, I was there, basically everything that was being said was vote of confidence by those in power rather than those who are out there on the streets.
Yes, you see
don't you think that formula is wrong?
Let me tell you.
How do you access yourself by using yourself to do that assessment?
Let me tell you.
Does it really make any sense?
The vote of confidence will be expressed during the election. Okay, the general election by Nigerians. But the people that are representing these Nigerians are there. They must have. They are in touch. Are you really sure they are in touch with their constituency? Okay.
When you mean by
House of Reps, the Speaker of the House of Reps spoke on behalf of members of the National House of Representatives. The Senate President spoke on behalf of members of the Senate.
Their people?
And they are constitutionally they are representing their people.
How fast some certain bills have passed in the National Assembly and the public outcry, you will see that there is a dissonance. There seems to be no connection. So, why will the APC be deceived by that alone?
Well, I don't understand what you mean by there is no connection with the people with the kind of bills. What are the bills you are talking about?
Okay, I'll give you an example, like the change of national anthem.
Yes.
And Nigerians are crying for electoral reform. So how does national anthem make Nigerians' lives better at this time?
But you can see how that national anthem is, eliciting commitment from Nigerians.
From how many Nigerians?
Now, when you read the national anthem, when you recite the national anthem, it creates a kind of brotherhood bond and commitment to nation, to nation building. Want us to? It makes you more patriotic. Do you want
us? It makes you more patriotic. We should go test this out. Maybe next week we go out together with our cameraman, and then we go out and meet 10 Nigerians and see how many of them can actually recite that national anthem, apart from those who knew the national anthem before.
Well, if you talk of how many of those can recite the national anthem, you remember this national anthem was our first national anthem. Okay? It was replaced with the one that was
But the issue for me is not really the national anthem. I'm just trying to measure when you say connection to grassroots.
Yes.
Lawmakers representing people at the local federal constituencies. I'm just trying to prove that, if that is real. Because if that is real, then people will not be shouting hunger, hunger here and there as they are.
The economy, there is a connection between the House of Reps members. I don't know if you are not.
Well,
maybe you are not in touch with your House member. I'm in touch with my House member.
Let's not dwell
I'm in touch.
on
Hold on. Look, let me tell you.
Let's not dwell on that, because that's not the issue.
Yes,
if
we are
you
not
feel
dwelling on that.
That is a better measurement for the president and the party for them to give and bestow that vote of confidence, it is fine.
There is nothing wrong. There is nothing wrong if the party, the leadership of the party, feels that the president is doing well and they pass a vote of confidence on him. It's just like you are in this studio as the presenter or the producer of this program, and your staffs come to say, "Oga, you are doing well." What is wrong about that? There's nothing wrong. It will encourage you to do more.
But being the staff of LN 24/7 and the Nigerians living in the Nigerian reality, I hope you know those are two different things.
Absolutely, but it's something that we just have to use example.
Okay.
I'm just saying for example.
All right. Well, so what is the APC? Because right now, I think the major criticism for the opposition is the message they want to sell, because one thing is to gather together, come together, and then, okay, we're together. So what do you offer? So now, I'm sure that will come up with time. But, I mean, what is APC selling to Nigerians for 2027? Because if you're endorsing the president and say, oh, sir, we're giving you a vote of confidence. So what is the build-up? How does the APC challenge itself to offer something better that, I mean, the opposition may not really even be able to offer?
Like I told you, you see, 2027 electioneering campaign have not really kickstarted.
Are you sure?
Absolutely.
There are flyers of the president everywhere in the FCT
let me
Abuja.
tell you,
so who are those people?
Officially, it has not kickstarted. Okay?
But
officially,
are they not breaking
we have
the rules?
not started. So there is no message for now. The president is focused, on the Renew Hope agenda to ensure that he delivers on the mandate that was given to him, for the next 4 years.
No,
and by next year,
from the conversations we've had, we've seen that the president has had, he's clearly concerned about 2027 at this time.
Well, that is what you are specific.
It's not what I'm
perception. That is
you
your
saw
perception.
His address at Benue State.
Yes.
I mean, bulk of that conversation majored on 2027. Would you agree?
I disagree with you.
I know. Well, anyway, you disagree with me, it's fine.
Yes.
But you recall when he said the speech, he started talking about 2027, started making reference to insecurity in that state and connecting it with politics too.
Definitely. You see, Benue is my state. I'm from Benue State. And if you watch what happened that day, it was more like a realistic talk, okay? And the Tortif and other speakers in that meeting came out and said the truth. What is happening in Benue is a full-fledged banditry with a political connotation. And that is what the president is also trying to say. We must take away politics from these things if we must exist as a state in the first place. And that is what the Tortif and other speakers in that meeting were telling the president. And our politicians, and that is why the president asked them to go and reconcile. And you could see the Benue State governor the other day visited Akume. Akume was, the secretary to the government of the Federation, Chief Judge Akume, and he also went around the zone talking to the chiefs, to the Ochidoma, the Tortif, and other, chiefs, critical stakeholders in the state.
So based on what you have said now, the APC internal crisis in Benue State, is it sorted out? Do you have one faction, the Hyacinth faction, and then the SGF faction? Is that still involved?
I don't think there is a faction that exists, because the National Secretariat... Yes, look.
You have two chairmen as we speak in the APC.
We have only one chairman. We have only one chairman, okay? And the truth of the matter is that the National Secretariat of our party have dealt with that issue, which they have the power to. If you look at, Article 14, of our Constitution, you know, Article 13, actually, of our Constitution empowers the neck of the party, and the neck has donated its powers to the NWC to set up committees to oversee, you know, party where there are crises. And that is what they did. The kind of committee that produced
it existed, but now it has
the kind of committee that produced Maimala Buni is what exists in Benue right now.
So there was crisis, but now it is resolved.
It has been resolved long ago.
Okay, fine. Now, I want us to delve into the next part of the conversation, which has to do with your party. Now, Ganduje resigned willingly, even though there's a whole lot of speculations as to why he left and all of that. Well, I'm hearing that he left to kind of find a way to lure Kwankwaso into your party. I don't know if that is true. I'm also hearing allegations of corruption within the APC as also something that is out there which talks about him probably working with Atiku. So which is it?
Well, I cannot tell you clearly that these are some of the reasons that made him to resign. From what he told us, he's resigning based on health issues. And if somebody tells you that he's sick, he cannot be able to, you know, function as the national chairman, and he's resigning, you will force him to continue. But you see, some of us welcome that resignation with, you know, with excitement, because I'm from the North Central. In the first place, the position he occupies, you know, I won't say it's a stolen mandate, but it's our mandate it's a snatch mandate from the North Central region. And that is why today we are calling on Mr. President and the NEC to do the needful and return our position back to the North Central so that, you know, the party can be strengthened in the North Central. Because if you look at, you know, the way the APC have treated the North Central, they have relegated us to the background. We are
not just APC now. I think the whole it's federal government structure
exactly
before and even after, because I'm also from the North Central.
That's what I'm telling you.
That's the fact.
That if you look at the way the party have treated us, because the party was involved in the zoning of positions in the National Assembly. North Central was not considered for anything. Ideally, the Speaker of the House of Reps is supposed to be domiciled in the North Central, but it was taken. The national chairman that was already in the North Central was taken all to the Northwest. So the party should do the needful. This is an opportunity that has presented itself for the party to do the right thing in order to strengthen our political base, our membership base, okay, and reinstate the confidence of our members in the party in the North Central region.
What is your take on Dalori's acting chairmanship?
Well, Dalori has the capacity to act. Dalori is competent, and I believe he will deliver. If the next, between now and the 24th of July, okay, he's in the acting capacity, because he has to fill the vacuum of, you know, the national chairman seat that, you know, that is vacant, and he is empowered by the Constitution of APC, Article 14(2), okay, stated that in the absence of the national chairman, the deputy national chairman, north or south, depending on where the national chairman comes from, will act on his behalf. So Dalori has the constitutional power to act. There are two things here. The Constitution, you know, of APC provides that the NEC can meet and appoint somebody to act as the national chairman. I mean, to take over, because the neck of the party has been empowered to act in between convention on behalf of convention. Convention is another organ of the party. And the NEC, the National Executive Committee, is another organ of the party. So the NEC can act on behalf of, in between, you know, when there are issues that convention need to take care of, the NEC can take decision on their behalf. So the NEC can meet and appoint, you know, somebody, you know, to act on behalf, you know, as the national chairman, not even act, to replace the national chairman with somebody they feel have the capacity to do that. That's number one. Number two is either they allow Dalori, okay, to drive the process until convention. Until convention committee is set up sometimes in December or January or April, because they are serving out their tenures in I think December next year, actually. 2022 till 2026, they will serve out their tenure. So I believe that what is happening today in the APC is going to, strengthen the party more. And they need to be very careful on the choice of the persons that is going to, come up to pilot the affairs of the party. Because if you look at, let's be honest, I want to speak objectively and honestly now. In the North, there is a lot of, issues with, our party,
like we saw with Gombe.
Like we saw in Gombe and stuff like that. So what I'm trying to say is that the party should be very careful on the choice of the next national chairman. And for me, I think there are two persons actually that are being mentioned for now. Senator George Akume and distinguished Senator Umaru Tanko Almakura. George Akume is representing the North Central also at the national level as the secretary to the government of the Federation.
So
and I think
that's enough consolation.
It's enough consolation, and
so
it's a good position.
Him to leave that position.
I wouldn't want him to leave that position for the national chairman. He should retain that, because, believe me, if he leaves that position, he's going to be taken out of the North Central. It's a minus for us from the North Central. And I'm calling on the North Central stakeholders to, reach out to him to retain that position. Distinguished Senator Umaru Tanko Almakura, who, in the last convention, in fact, if you look at statistics then, they gave it to him. They gave it to him. But Buhari and his men, came and then denied him and presented Abdullahi Adamu as a consensus. On what ground? They allege that he's a Tinubu man. They need somebody that will stop Tinubu. And they brought Abdullahi Adamu. Was Abdullahi Adamu able to stop him? He failed. Okay. Now, when they left, if you look at, I'm worried because the calibers of persons that are even around this coalition, the likes of El-Rufai, though El-Rufai supported Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu,
and even
the likes of Mekan Wajuba, the likes of Rotimi Amechi, the likes of the former Attorney General, Malemi, these are people that were in Buhari government, that enjoy the support of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. All of a sudden, they turn opposition against Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. These are the people that deceived him to say that if you bring Almakura, he's going to work for Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But when God destined you for anything, it will get to you no matter the obstacles, no matter the hurdle.
Okay.
You will leap over it. So I think the party should do the needful and then build this party, bring Almakura, who have the reach and the political clout to reach out, to Northerners. Mobilize them. Because, look, let me tell you the truth. Ganduje has lost, that... political base in the North.
And that's why you
and the face of the national chairman is the face of the party. You need a person, an individual with strong character. You need an individual with integrity. You need an individual with the competence to be able to drive the process.
And you feel he lacks that?
I believe that Ganduje lacks that.
Okay, so quickly, away from the party leadership now, let's talk about 2027 still. So what is it with the issue of Shettima not being Tinubu's vice president for 2027 ticket? Because I saw Felix Morka, he's been very vocal. So, I felt maybe he was going to clear the air, but now he's just left all of that speculation still out there. So, and the conversation now is, I think, more or less, the talking point is that Tinubu is not known to always rerun again with the same vice president, even during when he was governor of Lagos. So that's the case. So do you fear that this could also cause tensions?
Well, people
it is causing tensions. Let's just be real.
Okay, people are being unnecessarily agitated over issues that, for me, is not really an issue. Because, you see, constitutionally, the ticket belongs to the flag bearer. It is the prerogative of the flag bearer to say, be my running mate. Come and deputize me. For us to come today and say that he must, I think we are not being fair to him.
No, it's not about saying he must, but we're looking at the ripple effects of what it will cost. Well, because there are a lot of people who are loyal to Shettima.
Yes.
So that's our focus.
If at all he's going to change him,
but you know, prior to now,
which I doubt,
prior to these revelations,
to say anything with regards to this.
There's been reported tension in the presidency.
Made any statement with regards to this. In fact, they made a statement and said that they are not contemplating that. So let's take them for their word.
Is there tension in the presidency between the vice president and President Tinubu?
I'm not working. I don't work in the presidency. I cannot say whether there is tension.
They are members of your party,
but I'm seeing him representing. I'm seeing him representing the president in functions here and there, and that is his role. That is his responsibility. He's carrying that out. So you cannot say that there is tension. There is no tension between the president and the vice president. They enjoy a harmonious working relationship, you know, between the both of them.
So let's talk about the conversation about Kwankwaso coming back into the APC. Now, you've always talked about people who leave and then coming back. You know, you say internally, I mean, some of your party chieftains in the APC have described Peter Obi and Atiku Abubakar as internally displaced politicians. So, I mean, I wonder what Kwankwaso, what category he falls into if he decides to come back in. But, I mean, still the party, spokesperson, he's not really shying away from that kind of a conversation if Kwankwaso is being eyed to be the vice presidential, to stand in with the president for the 2027 ticket.
Well, if the president decides to, you know, make Kwankwaso his running mate in 2027.
Because you talked about
that idea.
I mean, all your colleagues have been. I mean, they've not really shied away from that Kwankwaso debate.
Absolutely, because you see, the more the merrier, they say. Okay.
And you feel he has more to offer?
Absolutely. Having a man like Kwankwaso in our party, he's a founding member of APC. Okay. Having him back to his progressive forum or progressive fold, okay, would be a welcome development. Okay, like you said, some people said that Ganduje left the party because of the rumored incoming of Kwankwaso and stuff like that. And I said, why will he leave the party on that ground? You cannot open your door to the likes of the governor of Delta State, the governor of Akwa Ibom, and some members of the National Assembly to come into your party, and you want to shut your door against another big fish, okay, coming into the party. The president in his democracy day said that would be political malpractice. We wouldn't want to commit that political malpractice, okay? So our door is open to anybody, because we have the freedom of association enshrined in our Constitution. That leads me
to a question that we will use to wrap up this conversation. Now, by the time you have some of all these persons coming to your party, I mean, I love the analogy used this morning. I was listening to somebody, and he said, okay, you have a classroom that can seat 50 students, and then you make room for 80 students. Where are they going to sit? So I'm asking you that same question.
You cannot equate political party
No.
with, hold on.
I think you can.
Hold on. You can't equate.
Can I explain to you why I can actually explain to you?
Let me answer your
because
question.
People come in with interest. People
no, you ask me direct. It's like a sky. Political party is like a sky.
A sky.
Yes, we can fly
take
and
in
not
everybody.
We
and when they don't get what they want, what happens?
Where?
What happened to PDP? What happened to Labour Party? All these parties we're talking about today. And then they are forming another party that is already having issues already.
The constitution of APC is so much, couched in a way that when you come into the party, you have the manifestos and agenda of the political party of our party will subsume your own personal life.
How do you do that? Because you have people in the party who already feel as though they don't belong in terms of maybe appointments that they have not gotten, like you talking about the North Central now. And then you have more people coming in, and these people are big heavyweights. They come in with their own needs and demands and interests. How is it going to cater? How is the party going to cater for all of them that will not result into an implosion?
That's why I told you that the party is like a sky. We can all fight. When birds are flying, they don't clash. We can all accommodate our
what
interests.
you're trying to say is that in 2027, if President Bola Tinubu is elected, then he would create 50 more ministries
we can all
to accommodate
my brother,
appointments.
We can
is that the APC constitution? Is that what the APC constitution is guaranteeing?
We accommodate our interest. And the interest is how to move the nation forward. It's not about individual. You see, when you are making this thing about...
No, I'm looking at the track record of the APC. Because people who come into APC, their sins are forgiven. They come in with corruption cases, and those cases are cleared.
And how many of them have their sins been forgiven? How many of them have their sins
When I mean their sins are forgiven, the pressure to pull through with their trial ceases.
Somebody is saying, mention...
I'm not going to mention names, but you can mention names.
Yeah, the governor of Delta State, that he came into the party because he doesn't want, EFCC to prosecute it. I don't understand. Is there anybody that has come out with any petition against the governor on the ground of corruption? I ask, where is the petition against him alleging corruption? Nobody has shown me one. The same thing with the governor of Akwa Ibom State. Nobody has shown me one. So what are they talking about? Their sins are being forgiven. Which sin? Have they been indicted anywhere?
But it's deeper than that. Because your party is the ruling party.
You cannot say
all the structures.
Look, let me tell you.
If
you want me to analyze why, let me tell you.
It still resides in the hands of those who lead your party.
If you want me to honestly analyze why people are decamping to the APC, especially from the south.
I'm not saying that is the sole reason.
Especially from the south.
Now,
I will tell you that.
Let's not move too far, Mr. Dominic, because we're talking about the ability of your party to satisfy that's what brought about this conversation now. Yes, so that's what we're talking about, because these things, it's causing issues. Even in your own state, it's causing issues.
A substantive national chairman, and I told you that, I tell you, you can fact check me. The APC constitution, the manifestos, has a way of subsuming individual interest so that you begin to run with the interests of the party. And the interest of this party is how to advance governance in this country. And that is why if you look at the Renew Hope agenda of Mr. President, which is in tandem with our party manifestos, is about, delivering on the dividend of democracy to Nigeria. So let's support the president for the next 4 years and see, if he will fail us.
For the next 2 years,
for the next 2 years,
there is an election.
To serve out his 4 years. In the next 2 years, he's going to be serving out his tenure. And I'm telling you that by the end of next year, he'll begin to roll out his scorecard, his achievement as president. That is when you begin to see, some of these things that we are talking about. And believe me honestly, All we need to do now as Nigerians is to support the president to deliver on his mandate.
Well, our time is up. I want to thank you so much, Dominic, for coming on Politics Now tonight.
Thank you for having me.
All right, well, the conversation will continue, but of course, some other time we'll continue to monitor the movements and the wranglings within, Nigeria's political landscape. Once again, thank you so much for watching. Do remember to visit our website www.ln247.news, and follow us on all our social media platforms. Once again, my name is Morno Balagugo. Thank you so much for watching tonight.